This is MotoGP 24. We're here on Xbox Series X. Be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well. So it's been a couple years, I guess, since I last played this franchise. I don't know what it is. Some years they send me a code, some years they don't. I don't know. I think it was like 22 I was looking up was the last time I drove in on this series. And, sometimes I get it right away, sometimes I don't. I don't know. I mean, who cares at the end of the day, right? So, yeah, let's dive in. This is the latest entry in competitive bike racing, and the latest time for me to die horribly because I completely lack the talent, the skill, and the desire to ride motorcycles. It's just not my thing in video games for some reason. I don't know. So what are we getting here? It's a 4K resolution, 60 FPS. There's HDR support. This game has single-player stuff you can do. There's multiplayer with crossplay. There's up to like 12 players competing. And there's some like local multiplayer for 2 players on the split screen option. Yeah. It's pretty straightforward. Look at me go, I haven't died a horrible death since the beginning there. So again, if you're expecting like high-octane racing from me, I'm too terrified to move the stick in an awkward way because I know my character will perish. So you get to make your own character, and then you could dive in, and there's like the career mode, there's quick play, there's championships, there's the online multiplayer, there are layers of like customization and personalization. If you're trying to change how the game, I guess you would say, sort of looks for your character and all that, it's just kind of in-depth, I guess you could say, just in terms of like having a full amount of content and that. I do believe this is pretty niche of a sporting kind of thing. I don't know, people always get mad when I don't know the specifics of these. Again, what I would claim to be a pretty niche type thing, doing like motorbike type racing to this degree. But, I totally get it. Some people are really into this, and, I think this is sort of the franchise for you. I think there's a couple of other series that exist too that do the motorcycle racing type thing. This is kind of the one I'd say I'm the most familiar with in terms of being like specifically these types of bikes. I mean, we do have, there's like the Monster Energy, which is Supercross and stuff, so that's obviously different, the MX versus ATV series. And I think there's also one where they do the super bikes on like the big, something Man of Mountain or something like that, but I don't think I've reviewed one of those or checked one of those out in probably half a decade or something, I think. I don't know. It's honestly been quite a while. So they do have lots of technical elements of this one, lots of different difficulty options. You can kind of make it easier, you can make it harder on yourself. I guess there's some level of like adaptive difficulty too as well to make it a little bit easier, more hardcore. The quest to become a MotoGP legend and shape your dynasty has been adjusted a little bit, so you're able to kind of go from like the origins of your like beginning and make your way through this super well-known championship and everything like that. And it's got the MotoGP, Moto 2, and Moto 3 included within it, so it's got a little bit of everything. There's the practice runs, the testing trials and everything like that, so you get a feel for the track with your vehicles. And yeah, I guess you would say it's pretty in-depth in terms of just your options and offerings here. I mean, it's kind of limited in like what you're going to be able to do for these types of games, if that makes sense. Like, there's only so many like events and qualifiers and athletes and everything like that you could include, right? So you kind of get a bit of what you get for this sort of franchise, right? And as I said, like honestly, it's pretty solid from when I play them. I think I'm actually doing pretty good. I'm assuming the adaptive difficulty stuff is coddling me more than usual, or maybe I've just gotten really good at this over a couple years away. I don't think so, but whatever the case, I like to think that I'm doing pretty well. Yeah, so I'd say visually it does look pretty good. The tracks and stuff are pretty decent. I mean, it's kind of your run-of-the-mill sort of racing game, right? Like, you've got a variety of different tracks from locations around the globe where this sort of competition is handled in terms of, like, racing and driving about. And then there's some variants to that, but I think, like, you know, the look of the characters is actually pretty decent. I think it actually captures it pretty well. I mean, it's a very straightforward sort of thing. So I guess also the AI has been adjusted to some degree, and they've aimed to change things up a little bit further. Oh, it's Silverstone. Kind of like Silverstone. Should we go to Japan, Motegi? We'll switch him up. We'll go. I was trying to find my character that I made, but I don't know where my character is. Then you can choose your laps, the weathering conditions, clear, cloudy, wet, rainy, you know, variables, kind of fun. It changes things up. You can have bike damage. It's like, it's pretty comprehensive, I would say, for this sort of thing. And then you see you can do your different race qualifiers on the different days. We just jump right into the race because I don't care. So, yeah, then there's the experience in making sure that you get penalized if you're breaking rules and not doing things correctly. It's a new season, so it keeps up with all the changes, and you know, you build up rivalries in your career mode. It's, you know, pretty straightforward, right? Like, I know that doesn't sound the best to those that are like really serious about this and really into it, and you know, sorry, but we're really just kind of showcasing this off, giving you an idea of things. It really just looks like your standardized racing game, and there's nothing really wrong with that, you know? Like, it does what it aims to do. If you're into MotoGP, I don't think there's really any sort of competitor that comes quite close to the offerings that we get with this one. I mean, I think I've seen it for, like I said, it's been quite a number of years, so I kind of forget about it. I just know I'm absolutely pitiful at competing and racing in this series from my experiences with it, but you know, there's lots of assists so that you can kind of learn and get used to it, and then there's varying levels of difficulty to really understand and play it. I don't honestly take these ones very seriously. It's kind of more like, hey, I'm here to kind of showcase this so you get an idea of things, and you know, you can see how it is in action. But yeah, it's got your rewind, it's got a pretty detailed environment. It's fine is what it is. It really is. It is just kind of fine. Oh, I accidentally did the rewind on that one. Not bad. And I don't really have any sort of problems with this one, you know, in terms of what it does and what it has to offer. Oh, first person scares me so much. I'm trying to show you the different visual modes and stuff, and yeah, first person actually, like, terrifies me in doing this. If there was like a VR thing, I don't know if I could handle it. Unless I was like, yeah, I guess you would say with like an actual, I guess you don't really have a steering wheel, do you? Well, yeah, this is a steering wheel of sorts, right? It's just, it's a little, it's not your traditional steering wheel is what I'm trying to say, you know, it's not like a car kind of steering wheel. It's a little different, right? Because it's a motorcycle. It's just, it's not a vehicle that I have a high level of comfort with, you know, and stuff like that. But I know people really love to live on the edge with their motorbikes and stuff like that. And I'd say the character models and the vehicle bike models are actually really improving a lot. Like, they look way better than I remember them looking, and I think the environment itself looks pretty good. And yeah, I don't know. I don't really have too many complaints. I mean, it's a generally pretty good looking, optimized for the current gen sort of game, right? It's not necessarily like pushing the boundaries of visual technology, but I don't necessarily expect this one to either, you know, but I think it captures the element and the scale and the scope of everything pretty effectively. It's, I think, a little easier going than I had anticipated it being for myself, so that's a good check mark there. It's as intense as you want it to be, it's as fun and easy going as you want it to be, and I think you can have a pretty good time diving in and playing this if you are into the whole bike racing or motorcycles or stuff like that, or motorbikes. I think it kind of hits the mark. So just enjoy some non-commentary gameplay to get a feel of more of it in action, I'd say, for sure, yeah.
In a few minutes, the top 3 riders will arrive. We're back from Parc Ferme with the winner, who blessed us with a... When Quartararo... Hello to all our friends back home from the USA. We're live from Austin, one of the tracks with the highest elevation change in the entire championship. Justin, we're on the starting grid where the lights will soon go out to start the race. Unfortunately, it has been raining for a few hours now, and it doesn't look like it'll stop anytime soon. Most of the riders have chosen a pair of soft tyres, but in Jorge Martin heads from pole position. All of the other riders on the grid breathing down his neck. In a few seconds,